Once upon a time, in a quiet forest where the trees whispered in the breeze, lived a little fox named Freddy. Beneath a tall oak tree was his cozy den, glowing warmly in the morning sun. And inside that den, something very curious was about to happen. In his snug little den, Freddy stretched and yawned. Sunlight poured through his round window. He wriggled his toes, then froze. His striped red and blue socks were gone. Freddy searched under the blanket and behind the chair, tossing things left and right, but no socks. His whiskers twitched with worry. He peeked inside a teacup, lifted the rug, even checked his lunch basket. Still nothing. How very strange. A feather floated in through the window, spinning gently before landing on Freddy's nose. Achoo. Off it flew again. Freddy never noticed the clue. Freddy trotted into a bright meadow where flowers swayed in the breeze. Perhaps a friend had seen his socks. There was Benny the bunny, bouncing so high his ears flopped like ribbons. Freddy asked about his socks. Benny said he'd seen something red and blue hopping toward the big oak tree. Freddy's eyes went wide. He imagined socks with bunny ears leaping through the meadow. What a silly thought! Together, Freddy and Benny hurried toward the tall oak tree standing proudly at the meadow's edge. At the foot of the oak, small dirt mounds dotted the ground. Freddy sniffed around carefully. Suddenly, pop! Milo the Mole burst from a mound, dirt flying everywhere. Milo explained he'd seen something stripy dangling from a branch. He thought it was a funny snake. Freddy imagined a silly snake wearing socks, slithering around with stripes from head to tail. How odd! Above them, the leaves rustled quietly. Freddy looked left, then right, but never up. High above sat Olivia the Owl, her golden eyes shining kindly. She had been watching all along. She hooted softly. Look up, look high, and answers hide in the sky. Freddy twitched his whiskers. Could his socks really fly? He pictured them floating away, tied to bright balloons drifting higher and higher. Freddy stared up at the wide sky, clouds glowing softly. He felt a little worried. Determined, Freddy dug his claws into the bark and began climbing the oak tree. He wobbled and slipped, tail swishing wildly for balance. Up and up he went. At last, Freddy peered over the edge of a large nest, his eyes wide with suspense. And there it was. The missing socks, stretched like a hammock, with 2 baby owlets swinging inside. Freddy blinked in surprise, then burst into laughter. His socks had turned into a playground. Carefully, Freddy climbed down from the tree, still chuckling to himself. He had found his socks at last. In the meadow, Benny, Milo, and Olivia gathered close, listening as Freddy explained what he'd seen. He decided the owlets could keep the socks. After all, swings were much more fun than shoes. His friends worked together, knitting Freddy a new pair of socks. Everyone helped. When they were done, Freddy slipped them on. One was green with stars, the other yellow with stripes. Freddy wiggled his toes proudly. His friends clapped and giggled at his funny mismatched socks. As the sun set over the meadow, Freddy laughed with his friends. He knew socks might come and go, but friends would always make life bright. And so, as the golden light faded and fireflies began to twinkle, the forest grew quiet again. But if you listen closely, you may still hear the sound of giggles drifting through the trees. And that is the story of Freddy the Fox who lost his socks.